How do you protect yourself from cybercrime? I'm Erik Brenner. Get some answers from one of this country's most respected cybersecurity experts. Robert Siciliano joins me next on Your Wealth Health. Hello and welcome to Your Wealth Health. I'm Erik Brenner, owner and founder of Hilltop Wealth Solutions. If you're watching us on Facebook, please share us with someone who could use this information. And thanks for watching us on yourwealthhealth.com. This month is Cybersecurity Month in the United States, and today I'm joined by one of this country's most respected experts on cybersecurity, Robert Siciliano. Robert is president and CEO of SafeR.me, and he has worked with companies such as Exxon, MasterCard, Morgan Stanley, Merrill Lynch, and UPS, just to name a few. He's a best-selling author on cybersecurity, and we will give away one of his books shortly. Robert has appeared on national TV many times, including Fox News, CBS, CNN, and the Montel Williams Show, which is interesting, and many others. And he's also been quoted in stories by the Wall Street Journal and the USA Today, just to name a few. I could go on, but he is in high demand as a speaker all over the country. I know I have seen him live and on many topics that affect cybersecurity. So I'm really honored to have him here on our show. Robert, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Happy to be here, spreading the message. It is Cyber Security Month, and most people aren't interested so much in this topic because they think it's overwhelming. But I think what we're going to do for the next period of time is to make it really easy to understand, break it all down so that people can, take actionable items. They can take next steps to make sure that the data in which they have on their devices, their social security numbers, are all safe and secure.
Yeah, so let's start off with this FBI. We got a graphic on the screen here where, the Internet Crime Complaint Center of the FBI had 1,000 reports a day before the pandemic, and now is over 4,000 reports a day. So, it has this pandemic certainly taken up cybercrime, Robert.
So here's what's happened, right? You have, thousands to hundreds of thousands of corporations, government agencies, they have the people working from home, right? And what that means is that, say, 8 months ago, right, February-ish, most people were working, at the office. They had their laptop, they had their desktop, and all of those digital devices were under, say, that one internet connection at the office. You had a single or group of IT managers at that office responsible for securing all of those devices, for maintaining that secure internet, for making sure that all of those devices, hardware, software, was properly updated with critical security patches, right? So you had everything under essentially one roof. And that's been going on, for 15, 20 years. And then all of a sudden, everybody's working from home. They have their bring your own device. So they're using the laptop they had at home, the mobile phone they had at home, the tablet or the desktop and so forth. And what that means is everything is no longer under that one internet connection, under that one roof at each corporation, at each government agency. And so ultimately the attack surface has exponentially increased. So before, they were just attacking everything under that roof. Now they're attacking everything in everybody's kitchen. And so the attack surface is exponentially increased, which means a lot more opportunity for the bad guy. There's so many more devices, so many more internet connections, so many more targets that they can go after. So everybody that's working from home is now an individual target, opposed to like that one corporation was that one target. And the best way to get access to that government agency's network, to that corporation's network, is through all these individual devices in all of these kitchens throughout the world at this point. And so that makes it really difficult for the IT manager. And now you have all these hacked devices because everybody's getting a phishing email through their home computer or their mobile phone or their tablet or their laptop, right? And they're getting infected, and all these corporations and government agencies are now getting infected as well.
So that's exactly why the FBI really suggests then, right, that this, this huge increase in cyber crime because of this remote worker. So do you think the remote worker just doesn't take it seriously, or maybe doesn't know how to protect, or what is your sense on that?
It's kind of like, if let's just say, right, like let's kind of look at the IT manager, the IT security manager at the corporation, at the government agency. Look at them like they are the mechanic that works on making sure that your PCs are properly fixed and protected, right? At the corporation, at the government agency, they're the mechanic, right? Now let's just say like all your local car mechanics went out of business, right? All of them went out of business all at once. Now everybody's left to fix their own car. Everybody has to maintain their own service. They have to replace their own battery. They have to replace their own tires. They have to do their own oil changes. And they don't have the tools to do that. They don't have the skills to do that. They don't even know where to get the parts to do that. So they're all on their own. So now everybody's like left to their own devices to literally take care of their own devices. And that is a huge problem for corporate America, for government agencies, for their IT managers, because again, that attack surface is exponentially increased, and most consumers, employees in this case, aren't equipped to do what's necessary. It's not that they don't necessarily care, it's they don't necessarily have the skill set. And because of that, it makes it much easier for the bad guy. Normally, as an employee, you're working on a relatively secure device that has controls in place that you wouldn't normally get, like phishing emails to that device, because the corporate IT firewall is designed to filter that stuff out. Now you're on the same computer in your kitchen that your kids might use to, play games online or to shop on Amazon or whatever. And so now it's a lot easier for criminals to get access to you and I, to get access to the corporate networks. And that's going to continue unabated for quite some time. So it's really important to know what your options are in regards to locking down your devices, all the various hardware and software and habits you have to incorporate, making sure that you're on a wireless or wired secure connection, right? You can't be on an unencrypted wireless connection to the internet accessing the corporate network. So you have to essentially, use password protected encrypted internet to access the corporate network from home. Utilize a virtual private network, a VPN software, to access the corporate network or government network from home. Make sure that you're updating your operating system's critical security patches. Generally, I suggest people do that automatically. So you set everything on the devices to automatically update your critical security patches. So when your antivirus says, hey, it's time to update, set it to automatically update. Most people don't do manual security well, whereas I suggest you do automatic updates, automatic security, because all the software programs are set up to do just that, to automatically download the critical security patches, to automatically update your operating system and so forth. And if you do all the basic things that we're talking about and we'll talk about, then generally the corporation, the government agency, you should be fine.
Great, thanks. So there are some basics really that people can do, and as you said, I know in discussions with folks, it gets overwhelming really quick, right?
Yeah, it can, but it's like anything else. As long as you have a basic checklist in place, right? So updating your operating system with critical security patches, engaging in antivirus, anti-spyware, anti-phishing, and a firewall, making sure you have a password protected connection to the internet, generally a wireless one. Again, utilizing a VPN, a virtual private network, and being really cognizant that every single time an email comes in, that you don't just automatically click the links in the body of the email, that you don't automatically just open up the file that might be connected to it, that you look for every email, you look for phishing. You expect it to be a phishing email. Just because it looks like it's coming from a colleague or it looks like it's coming from PayPal or your bank doesn't necessarily mean that it is. So you have to really scrutinize every single communication to make sure that it is in fact legit.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Robert. We mentioned earlier that Robert has written best-selling books on cybersecurity, and we want you to have one of them. We have some copies. We're giving away some copies, Identity Theft Privacy. If you go to our website at hilltopwealthsolutions.com and click on Your Wealth Health tab, you'll see where you can sign up for a free copy, and we'll get you that. It's a great book full of great information like we're talking about today. As the technology changes, so does the bad guys. 5G is just around the corner. How do people keep up with the changing technology and the changing cybersecurity issues that come with it? We're going to continue to have some answers with Robert Siciliano when we come back on Your Wealth Health. Stay with us.
I cannot work, do e-learning, and keep this house clean.
You should try Kay's way. We heard you were dirty, so we came in a hurry. We can't help you with the e-learning, but we can help you with the cleaning. Try Kay's way.
Welcome back to Your Wealth Health. I'm Erik Brenner, the owner of Hilltop Wealth Solutions, and I'm joined by Robert Siciliano, one of this nation's most respected experts on cybersecurity. Robert, as technology becomes, more advanced and there's more opportunities for the bad guys, we've already talked about, especially with the pandemic. What are some other cybersecurity crimes that you see out there that people should be aware of?
With the pandemic, as you mentioned, there are so many fears revolving around the PPP or PPE equipment, regarding the vaccines and social distancing. And everybody's doing all kinds of research revolving around all of these issues. And they want to know more. And so bad guys, what they do is they create what's called fake or spoofed websites that might look like it's the CDC. It might look like it's various government agencies. It might look like it's the unemployment insurance agency in your state or town. And so they create all these fake websites that, as we are, looking for these various sites, searching out these various issues, we end up stumbling upon these fake spoofed websites. And that's a problem, because these sites are often providing fake or false information designed to trick you to entering your credentials, your usernames, your passcodes, entering social security numbers, credit card information. So it's really, really important that you are only going to websites that are government issued websites that are either like their .gov, or even if they're .com websites, they've got to show up on the first page of search. Once you start going 2 and 3 pages into search, that's when you start to get yourself into trouble. So stay on the first page of search. There are various tools that are built into your antivirus programs. And if you're using free antivirus, you're only going to get so many of these tools. Whereas if you pay for antivirus, you get, say, a toolbar that will recognize if the websites you're going to are risky or not, usually via, red, yellow, or green markers listed next to the links that give you a basic idea as to whether or not that website is trusted, it's been proven to be legit or not. So just make sure when you start searching for stuff that you are cognizant of all the places that you're searching, and you're not entering sensitive personal identifying information. And when you're getting emails from someone saying that they are in fact the CDC or the Social Security Administration or the IRS or the unemployment office, same thing if you're getting text messages, just be careful, because bad guys know that you're concerned and that you might be filing for unemployment, and you might be looking for information revolving around vaccines or what to do in regards to social distancing. And they are creating websites and communications emails that we get that are fake, designed to trick us. So always just be, aware of this. P.T. Barnum once said, there's a sucker born every minute, right? And bad guys know this. They know that there's a sucker born every minute. But I'm going to take it one step further. There's more than just a sucker born every minute. I believe that every single one of us has a sucker in us, meaning that we can all be bamboozled. Like if you don't think you could ever be suckered, you're going to be suckered. We are all vulnerable. We are all capable of, being bamboozled. And as long as you see that in yourself, as long as you recognize that level of risk, then you are that much more conscious and cognizant every time the phone rings, every time an email comes in, and you're less likely to be scammed. I've never seen more fraud being perpetrated in such a concentrated period of time, and that's right now in my entire professional career, and that's over 30 years. There has been over 27 billion records compromised in the first 6 months of 2020. Then that's the hugest number we've ever seen in the past 20 years that we've been looking at those numbers. So it's getting worse. It's not getting any better. And as long as your audience, your clients, everybody watching today, you up your level of sophistication revolving around all of these scams, you are much less likely to be scammed. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, that's a tremendous number. What about 5G? We hear about this now. Apple just rolled out, obviously, their new technology with 5G. So what are some ramifications there, maybe some concerns? Does that tie into what you were just talking about? How you think about that?
So some of the risks revolving around 5G, of course, mobile, right? You're on a mobile phone. Mobiles have much smaller screens. And what's going to happen with 5G is it's going to give us a lot more opportunities to use smaller devices to do much more in regards to e-commerce. We'll be able to do much more searching. It opens up the attack surface to target more mobile devices because of higher speeds. People will be out and about and able to conduct themselves the way they were at home, buying stuff, searching stuff, and so on. There isn't a tremendous amount of additional risk in as far as you being your devices being more vulnerable. It's more so that you're going to be using smaller screens to do more, and you may not catch certain things that you normally would with bigger type, bigger text, bigger screens. That's the most risk right there. So it's really important just to be that much more careful on a mobile device if you're engaging in e-commerce. And then your mobile devices themselves, especially Android devices, your HTCs and Samsungs and so forth, you have to have antivirus on an Android mobile phone. iPhones, you can't even get antivirus. It's not even available. There's no viruses targeting a iPhone or an iPad. Whereas with anything Android, there are viruses that you can get. You can download a virus via a text message with an Android device. You can download a virus by simply visiting a website and that website being infected while you are on an Android device, and that virus injecting itself into your Android browser. So you have to have antivirus on an Android device the same way you need antivirus on a Windows computer. As long as you search on the Google Play for antivirus, you'll find yourself plenty of options to download free or paid antivirus for an Android mobile phone.
Yeah, that's a great point about the 5G, and you said the smaller devices, smaller screens. I've complained over the last years as I get older, the screens are getting smaller, so people are not taking the time, they want to move on to the next thing, right? Click, 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 and then all of a sudden you got yourself a problem.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. As long as consumers are paying attention, well, you are less likely to become victim of a fraud or a scam. It's just a matter of cognitively focusing on what you're doing and thinking about it before you react to it.
Yeah, great. Thanks. Well, once again, we want to give you an opportunity to receive one of Robert's best-selling books on cybersecurity. We're giving away copies. We have a copy for you. It's on identity theft privacy. And if you go to our website, hilltopwealthsolutions.com, and click on your Wealth Health tab, you will see where you can sign up for a free copy. Again, it's a great book full of great information like we're talking about today. So we've talked about threats and we've talked about the changing technology. What are the priorities when it comes to protection? We'll get Robert's thoughts next on Your Wealth Health. Stay with us.
Well, Rick's Auto Body means to me, so I just believe that we all have God-given talents and we have a God-given purpose in life. And I believe mine is problem solving. So I use collision repair as just a way to fulfill my purpose in life. So Rick's Auto Body to me is something that my dad gave me as a good start, and I took it and we're building from there. But the purpose of it is to help people and to solve their problems and to be a servant in the community. Our family has been in collision repair for 47 years, and now we've expanded to 2 locations, one in Mishawaka, one in South Bend, both with the same core values of repairing vehicles and putting people first. And this facility here in Mishawaka gives us that extra room that we can really get the higher trucks in, and we can do collision repair to the higher trucks. So if you want to have more information, you can call or text my cell phone, 574-532-0658, or you can go to ricksautobodysshop.com.
Welcome back to Your Wealth Health. I'm Erik Brenner, and we continue our discussion about cybersecurity with Robert Siciliano. So, Robert, if you had to list the top 3 things people should do to protect themselves, what should it be? I mean, you've said a lot of things here, but what are the top 3 things you think?
So I think it's really important to protect your own identity, right? So you have a social security number. If you're breathing, you have a social. Even after you pass away, you still have a social, right? And the best way to protect yourself from new account fraud, when the bad guy opens up a new line of credit under your name, and new line of credit like a new credit card, a new loan, a new utility, a new mobile phone account, right? They can lease a vehicle under your name. Heck, they can buy a house under your name. Anything that you can do with your credit via your social security number, because that's your primary identifier, anything that you can do with your credit, so can a bad guy. So the best way to protect yourself from new account fraud is to get a credit freeze. Now, identity theft protection is also an option. I'll speak to that in a second. But what a credit freeze does is it freezes your credit. It locks down your credit in such a way, and it's free, by the way, it locks down your credit so that when a lender goes to check your credit because they received an application for credit, either from you or from a bad guy, when the lender goes to check your credit, if your credit's frozen, the lender can't see your scores. If they can't see your credit scores, the lender doesn't know what their risk level is. If they don't know what their risk level is, they don't know what your scores are, they aren't going to lend you or open up that line of credit, that new account under your name. Because you could be in the 300s and you're a high risk, or you could be in the 800s, but they wouldn't even know it because they can't see what your scores are, again, because your credit's frozen. So credit freeze is easy to do. It's easy to get. Administratively, you just go to each of the 3 major credit bureaus, Experian, TransUnion, Equifax, and do a search on the website itself for freeze, or it might be some information on the front page, but usually not, because they want to always try to sell you something, and a credit freeze is free again. So you do a search for freeze, credit freeze TransUnion, credit freeze Experian, credit freeze Equifax, and you'll find the page on how to freeze your credit. You're going to fill out, your name, your address, your social. Just give it to them. They have it anyways. Give them your mobile phone, email address, and all that. And once you begin the registration process, you are setting up an account at each of the 3 major credit bureaus. And this is the best thing that you can do to lock down, to freeze your credit so the bad guys can't open up new lines of credit under your name. Now, when you want to unfreeze your credit because you want to get a line of credit, you want to lease that car, you want to get a utility, you want to get a new mobile phone at a different company. When you want to unfreeze your credit, You just simply log back into the credit bureau because now you have an account, and then you temporarily unfreeze. It'll give you a dashboard with a date, like you want to unfreeze on, say, October 25th, and then refreeze on October 30th. You set it up to do just that for free. And now you have full control over when a lender can check your credit. So credit freeze, and I would say layer that with identity theft protection services. So identity theft protection are services that you invest in for anywhere between $7 or $8 a month to as much as $20 a month that will monitor your credit. They will monitor your information on the dark web. And they also have restoration agents, experts that will work with you in case your identity is stolen, whether that's from new account fraud, tax-related identity theft, medical-related identity theft, criminal-related identity theft, and so forth. So identity theft protection services coupled with credit freezes lock down your social security number, preventing new account fraud. This really is the best way to protect yourself from pure identity theft, which again is new account fraud.
Yeah, that's great. So small business owners, Robert, a lot of small business owners, if they're getting started or, they're running a small business, they may not want to spend a few dollars to make sure they're protected technology-wise. But what are a couple suggestions for them? I'm assuming it wouldn't be don't short yourself on protecting your business. But what other advice do you have?
Look, if you're in business, you have certain fundamentals that you have to engage in order to stay in business. Certain permitting, licensing, right? You have bookkeeping, and there's certain things that you have to do as a business, right? Certain insurances and so forth. My belief is that every business should engage in a virtual CISO, which is a virtual chief information security officer, somebody who will scan their network remotely to find out what those vulnerabilities are. And when you do that, you know what those vulnerabilities are. That virtual CISO, my company actually does something like that, where we find out what those vulnerabilities are and we patch them remotely. And on top of that, you definitely want to make an investment in cybersecurity insurance. You cannot function today without cybersecurity insurance, because if and when, and I mean when, you are breached in any way, shape, or form, your back is up against the wall. If you have to pay ransom to get your information back, if you have some type of a breach where all your records are compromised and you have to pay for identity theft protection services for your clients, if you have to bring in a forensics investigator to find out where that breach occurred, cybersecurity insurance is there behind you, watching your back to make sure that all those expenses are paid, that they will pay the ransom in many cases too. But first, you have to bring in that virtual CISO, a managed security service provider that looks at your network, finds out what those vulnerabilities are, patches them ahead of time. Then you invest in cybersecurity insurance. Otherwise, you can actually invest in cybersecurity insurance and not be protected due to the fact that if your network isn't compliant, the cybersecurity insurance isn't going to matter even if you pay for it. So have somebody come in, do a scan, and then make an investment in cybersecurity insurance. And honestly, you should be relatively bulletproof from that point on.
So the cybersecurity insurance, Robert, you get that from insurance agents. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of companies out there that offer that.
You can learn a lot more about that at my website, protectnowllc.com. Again, protectnowllc.com. And we've written all kinds of blogs about it. We have an option you can click to learn more about it.
Oh, great. Thank you, Robert. So we want to remind you one more time about an opportunity to receive one of Robert's best-selling books on cybersecurity. We're giving away a few copies of Identity Theft Privacy. If you go to our website, hilltopwealthsolutions.com, you click on your Wealth Health tab, and you will see where you can sign up for a free copy. It's a great book full of great information. Well, we're out of time for this morning's show. We want to thank you, Robert Siciliano, for joining us, and for the entire Hilltop staff. I'm Erik Brenner. Thank you for watching, and stay wealthy, Michiana.